Hey there, it's Kathy with Be Creative with Kathy, and happy Monday, everybody. I have a really cute card for you. It looks like this. It's a fun fold, so when you open it, it kind of, oh, and look, it's even too big to fit on my video. There we go. Look like that. So that's the card that I'm going to show you how to make today. And we're going to use the Artistically, let me put over here to get rid of the glare, the Artistically ink stamp set. It does have some dies that coordinate. You can find these at my online store as a bundle. Let me show you in the catalog. I think it's easier because also if you have a catalog, you can find them here on page 96 and 97. It does have a suite that has the designer series paper and some gold foil pieces that are already die cut with some little bling in a package you can get. And really the whole suite is only $75, which is a really good deal because like I said, that includes the stamp set, the designer series paper, the die cuts, and the gold packet, which I can't remember the name of it and it's too small for me to read right now, but it's a really good packet. And to be honest with you, I haven't used it as much as I should, but it does make some really pretty cards. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me show you how we're going to start. The die cuts cut out some of the images in the stamp set, and then it has a couple big independent, I'll call them, dies that look like this. And we're going to first take this one. Let me bring in my plates for my die cut machine. So I have the platform number 1, plate number 2, cutting plate number 3 that I keep on the bottom. I'm going to lay some gold foil paper, and this is just the, I'm going to call it the plain old gold foil paper that's in the annual catalog or on my online store, because we have some fancy gold paper that's in the mini catalog, but I decided not to use that. But I'm going to go ahead like this, bring in my die cut machine, and run this through. Oh, and I got my handle on the wrong side. Hang on. There we go. Run this through. You're not even in camera, but you get the picture. And I'm going to, just for safe measures, I'm going to run it through this way. I've made sure I held it tight so my die and my paper didn't move. And I'm going to run it through just back again. Okay, that's all we need for die cutting. Let me just slide this piece over. And shoot, I should have brought my die brush, but of course it's way over there. I'm not going to go get it. I'm going to just kind of tap a little bit and try to get most of those little pieces out. But when we're all done, it looks like this. And look how pretty that is. Now let me get my, take a pick tool and just poke some of those little pieces out. Now our die cut machine is very efficient and gets a nice cut. We just have to convince all those little tiny pieces to come out. And then all these little dots in here. Let's see if I've missed any of the big parts. Okay, we're getting there now. Maybe I should have done this before the video so you didn't have to watch. And now I have a piece that's stuck. There we go. I got him out. Okay, let's keep going. Lots of little pieces, but it's so worth it. It's such a pretty piece when it's all said and done. Okay, a couple more. More than a couple. Let's see. There, I think I have them all now. Whoop, let's bend him back into place. Let's move all of this out of the way. Okay, now we have our piece. Now, if you notice, or maybe you didn't notice, but some of the pieces here kind of match the die, and I want to line those up. So, oh, and you know what? I forgot a piece of cardstock. We're going to have to cut a piece of cardstock because I forgot the front of my card, which needs to be 5 inches by 3 3/4. So let me hurry because that's what we're going to stamp on now. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm missing a piece of cardstock. So let's real quick, we're just going to cut a piece of cardstock that's 5 inches by 3 3/4. And if you ever miss the measurements on the video or you want to find the measurements later, you can find them on my blog, Be Creative with Kathy. I keep all the blogs. And you know, while I have my paper trimmer, I have a piece here that we're going to use on our card. This is just basic white. It's a half a sheet Well, really, it's not quite half. It's 11 inches this way, but it's 3 3/4 inches wide. And we're going to put the 11 inch at the top of our paper trimmer here, and we're going to score it at 5 inches, and then again at 10. Since we have our paper trimmer, we might as well go ahead and do that now. Let's take that away. Okay, let's go back to our stamping. But like I said, I want to take and position my stamps on my gold piece. So I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus. So here is my Stamparatus plate. Let me grab my magnet from the back here. And then I do have a piece of sticky grid paper. If you watch my videos, you know that I do not sell this on my online store. You'd have to go to a hobby shop to find this. But it's just double-sided sticky paper that holds my paper where I want it. So I'm going to lay my cardstock, my basic white paper on there. And then I want my dies or my stamps to look about like that. So then I'm going to use my magnet here to hold, and I'm going to put it over here to hold that temporarily where I want it. Because then I'm going to take my plate here, set it here, and then I'm going to lay my dies, or I'm sorry, my stamps where I want them on my dies. So this is the big flower here. I'm going to lay him about there. Now he might not be perfect, and that's okay. Then I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to add another stamp on there. I'm going to do these leaves right here. Just kind of lay them where I want them. Now I'm making sure that my gold piece here does not move. Then I'm going to take another one here, move it down a little bit, and I'm going to put this little flower here, which I think looks like this. And all of these I'm taking out of the stamp set, which is off camera, sorry about that. And I'm going to pick up that one, and then last but certainly not least, I'm going to bring in this little tiny leaf here, looks like this, and I'm going to lay that one. And you know, I think I want it to go this way. So now my gold piece has not moved, and all of my stamps are ready to ink up and go. So now I'm going to take my gold piece off of there. I'm going to start with that big flower, and I'm not really sure why, but just because I want to. And I'm going to use a bunch of different colors. This is polished pink, and I'm going to ink up. I have to be honest with you, I'm a little nervous because I didn't really pay attention to see if my gold piece moved. We'll see if everything lines up the way we want it or not. But I'm going to lay that down there. Finished with the polished pink. Let me put that away. And then I'm going to bring in some Pear Pizzazz for this big double leaf here. So let me open this up. Ooh, look how pretty though. We're there. We're getting there. I'm going to set that polished pink over here just so that ink doesn't get on my table. And then I'm going to just ink up that little leaf that we wanted about there. Okay, finished with the... Then I'm going to remove this plate, and now I would just go run this under some clear water, and that's how I would clean that. Let me find a place where it won't get ink everywhere. Okay, and then I'm going to just turn this way so I can continue to ink. Now this little leaf right here, I'm going to ink up in some shaded spruce and just stamp him down right there. And then last, I'm going to take this and turn it over one more time, and I'm going to ink this flower up in some pale papaya. Very colorful, very pretty. Just like that, and hopefully everything goes well and it will line up somewhat with my gold die cut piece. Okay, I'm going to set that aside, and then let's see how we did, or how I did, and if it all lines up. And now look how pretty you can see. Yeah, I did pretty good. You can see those colors behind the gold piece. My papaya here might not be the best, but I still think he's going to look okay. So let's go ahead and stamp just a little bit more. I'm going to bring in this little tiny green dots. Or they're not greens, they're just little tiny dots. Whoops, I just threw my stamp. And then I'm going to bring in this center of the flower here. It also has some other stuff going on. Then while I'm at it, I'm going to bring in that happy birthday and put that on a block too. Okay, so with more of that pale papaya ink, I'm going to go ahead and stamp this piece, which I called the center of the flower, but really it's an independent flower on its own too. But I'm gonna just ink that down, and then I'm gonna just hold this about where I want it, because look, I think we need a flower here, so I'm gonna just ink up my stamp and just kind of guess about right there, and then I'm gonna put one more up here, so it looks about like that. And now we have some more color on there, and all those flowers are filled in like that. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so then with those little dots, I'm gonna bring in some Just Jade ink, like this, and I'm gonna just fill in some of those spots, or some of the white spots here on my card, and just give it some more character. And I should show you too that my inspiration came straight out of the catalog. Let me go back to page 97 and 96, because I really liked how they did their card here. Because the idea book here, but this card right here, look how pretty that is. That's what I tried to copy. Okay, so far so good, right? Looks pretty good. Okay, let's go ahead and glue this piece down to my cardstock. And it's kind of nice because that's not moving, so it's going to stay put and I shouldn't have any trouble. I have my silicone mat here, or my silicone sheet. Another thing you can find at my online store, I think it's a really necessity. I use it all the time just to keep adhesive off of my work surface. And then I'm gonna take, I just have what I call a sticky dauber, because I always use them for glue, and I'm gonna just tap some of that liquid glue right here, making sure that I get some of the edges. Now some of the edges, if they're kind of off the paper, to just give it some character, whoop. So I'm not gonna be too picky about where, and I see that I've missed a couple pieces of that gold in there, but I think it's going to be okay. I think it's going to give it some character too. So let's go ahead and put this down and lay that where, and it doesn't have to be perfect, I just want it close, and look how pretty that is. Okay, so now last we need our happy birthday down here at the bottom. So I'm going to use some early espresso and that happy birthday stamp, another stamp that's in the stamp set. I'm going to ink that up. I'm going to try to get straight without getting my head in the camera, and I'm going to just stamp that here at the bottom under the gold piece. And I think it might not be perfect, but I think it looks pretty good. Ooh, and before I put all my well, we're going to hang on to this and set this aside. Make sure that that sticky grid paper that's on the back stays with the Stamparatus and not with my cardstock. Okay, now we need to bring back in all those stamps. So I have my chamois here, and I'm going to just peel them off like this. They're sticky, so I'm going to just wash them with my hands, or have them with my hands, and then put it on a block, because we're going to stamp them on our cardstock now. Other pieces of our project, I should say. You know what, and I'm going to have to put it on a block, because it's not sticking to my hand like sometimes it does. Making sure I get that nice and clean. Let's do the same thing to these two. I have a block here for those double leaves. Clean those. And I probably didn't need to clean them, because we're just going to use the same colors again. But this way, it might help keep my hands just a little bit cleaner. Okay, so now we have all of our stamps mounted and ready to go. For here, this is the piece that I that I scored. That's the 3 3/4 by 11. I remember I scored it at 5 and 10 inches. I'm going to fold those on those score lines, making sure that it lines up side to side. Use my bone folder and get a nice crisp fold here. And then this one I'm going to fold back. This is that little 1 inch at the top. I guess you'd call it the top. It could be the bottom. It's going to be the top now. And then I'm going to fold it the other way, because I want it to lay flat on our card. So I'm going to make sure it has a really good crease on that piece there. Okay, so now with this 1 inch fold at the top, I'm going to do a little bit more stamping. And I'm going to start with that big flower and that petal pink ink. And I'm going to kind of mimic just what was on the inside. I want to fill this whole panel with just prettiness. So I'm going to stamp down, put this away, we're done with that. that big flower like that. I'm going to bring in the pale papaya and the smaller flower and just kind of stamp him about here. And then I am going to stamp him down here in this corner down here too. Oh, and I need that little flower. Here he is. I'm going to just take him and stamp him on the inside of the bigger flower. And you know, I kind of missed. Shame on me. I'm going to do it again. I still think he looks good that way. And then with that shaded spruce, I'm going to bring in the smaller leaf here. And I'm going to kind of stamp him here, down here with this flower. Let me get a scratch paper to go under so I don't stamp on my work surface. Because this one looks like he's going to go off a little bit, maybe like that. And then let's do a couple up here. Maybe here, and maybe there. There we go. And then again, with that pear pizzazz, I'm going to stamp those big double leaves here. Just up here at the top. Let's see, and I think that looks pretty good. The only thing we need is to bring in some of that Just Jade again and those little dots, and let's fill in some blank spots. And let's fill in a little bit down here just to add it to that. Now, I wanted to put a greeting on here, and so I did bring in, this is the happiest of birthday stamp sets. I love this happy birthday stamp set. I'm going to put this It's Your Day, Enjoy It, and I'm going to stamp that in that early espresso ink, if I can find it, because if you saw my desk now, you'd be like, how do you fit all of that? And I did use early espresso, right? Here he is. Okay, thought I lost my mind there for a minute. But let's ink that up. Let me practice once. I don't know why I had to practice that. I didn't practice anything else. But then we're going to just stamp that right here on that part of our card. There we go. So I think so far that looks pretty good, right? Now, I've noticed that I have this folded the wrong way. This is going to lay flat on our card on the inside, and we want it this way. There we go. So I'm going to take some cardstock here. Let me show you what I have. And like I said, if you ever miss the measurements or if they sound wrong to me, be sure and check my blog, because sometimes my mouth doesn't work like my brain and it gets ahead of me and I say the wrong things. But I have some early espresso here. This is 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to layer on some polished pink. That is just a 1/4 piece of cardstock, so it's 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. And I'm going to layer. I'm going to do that twice, once for the front and once for the inside, like this, and layer on here, like that. Okay, so I'm not going to put the front on my brown cardstock yet, and I'll show you why. Well, I'll tell you, because I don't want to mess it up, and I'll add it on there last to make sure that I have my card going the right way. So on this part here, this is a 5-inch piece here, right? I'm going to take that and I'm going to lay it right here centered on the bottom of my card. So look how it's framed nicely on there. And then I'm going to put some, and I'm going to use the CO Plus just to give it some extra oomph. And I'm going to cover, now this is the little strip here that I scored. I've got that covered with tape. And if you run over, right, my tape went off the edge, I'm going to just fold that back. But I'm going to lay that this way. And I have this at the bottom. Now it doesn't matter which is the top or bottom now. I just want to make sure I get this on straight. I think it's easier if you put the sticky part down here. Maybe put your finger on there and lay this so it matches up here. And then when you lay it down, now look, your card, you can't see the bottom, but when you open it, it goes like that. I hope that made sense. I think that's the easiest way to do it. So let's bring the front of our card, and I'm going to just take that and lay that. Now that I know, make sure which way my card is correct. Yep, so it's going to go this way, and I'm going to just lay that right there in the center, and bada bing, bada boom, look how pretty that card is. Okay, so then last and certainly not least, we got to add a little bit of bling on there. And I thought since we have the gold going on here, we need to add these gilded gold gems, which are really pretty. So I'm going to take, I think they might be, let's try our take a pick tool. And nope, it's not going to work. I'm going to have to use my scissors. They're a little bit too big. But I don't know if you noticed right here, but I got a little bit of edge of my stamp. I'm going to just take my bling and cover that up right there and fix my error just like that. Never, nothing you ever can't fix. Oh, and look, I got a glue dot that didn't stick to my bling. I'm going to put that on my card and then bring my bling back in here. Because you got to make sure when you get your bling off your clear or your window sheet that you get that sticker or that glue dot that's underneath them. Now that looks pretty for the front, but I think we need a little bit of gold in here. So I'm going to go ahead and add some gold to the inside of my card as well. And now it might not lie perfect. It might be a little bit hard to mail. Well, all my gold gems are not going to stick to my glue dots today. But I think it needs something on the inside, so I am going to go ahead and add these. Sorry, I had a loss of train of thought. And then, I don't know if you noticed, but right here, I have another little, I'm going to go ahead and cover that with one too. And then while I'm at it, I'll put another one down here. And there you go. So there's my card today. So I have to tell you, I saw a lady by the name of Stamp It Up with Jessica, Ink It Up with Jessica. I don't know. She showed how to do this fun fold, and I took her card and made it my own. So thanks, Jessica, for sharing your card. Like I said, if there's any supplies you want, all the supplies are on my online store. And if you need the measurements, please visit my blog, becreativewithkathy.com. I hope you try the card. Let me know if you do. And I'll see you back here Friday with another Christmas project. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.